We're ready to roll. And I am Carrington, and you are cooking with. Now, in this edition, we will embark on a culinary journey that will amaze and tantalize your taste buds. Let me tell you, I know it sounds a little intimidating. Nouveau French toast and homemade pan sausage. It is not intimidating at all. A child can do this recipe. That sans the alcohol, of course. But we ready to rock and roll and get going. I want you to strap in and get ready to take this journey with us because we're about to take off. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do now, we're going to start with our pan sausage and we're going to get those set. We're going to start with our pan sausage. We're going to get those set. And in your pan sausage, you can either use the pork or the turkey. We're going to need rubbed sage, the ground coriander, the salt, the black pepper, and a little bit of brown sugar and a whole lot of love. All right. So these sausage, when we make this sausage, they're going to taste like the ones you buy in the store, but they won't have all the preservatives and all that extra stuff they put in it to hold on to them. So I want you to know they're going to be a little bit lighter in texture and they're going to taste wonderful. So as we get started right now, as we can look, I'm going to go up to my board here. And as we look, you can see we have ground turkey. Now, the ground turkey that we have is a 85-15 blend. All right. And the 85-15 blend is because we are still making sausage. So we do need some fat in that sausage to give flavor and also to enhance with cooking. OK. And we're using just a ground all natural pork. OK. When we get moving on this journey, I want you guys to remember that these are recipes. These are all recipes, and these recipes are like roadmaps. They're roadmaps to get us to a destination. Cooking is definitely an art, which means that when we're cooking, we are looking for to add our own touch to everything that we make. So I might like a little more salt. You might like a little less salt. I might like a little more coriander. You might like a little more coriander. We're going to talk about these spices that we're going to put in because I know people going, these are unusual spices for a sausage, but trust me, it's going to make for a wonderful flavor profile. Baking, on the other hand, is a science. So whenever we're baking anything, we have to stick to the formula. If we adjust or if we change anything on the formula, then it will, it's going to change the end product. All right. So remember, 2 little tidbits, drop a little bit of jewels on you here. Baking is a science. Cooking is an art. And we are all artists. So don't be afraid of it. We can get in, we can do what we have to do. All right. So as we go forward right now, we're going to talk about these 2 particular meats that we have. So we have our turkey and we have our pork. I don't know if people remember the old commercial that used to be on. I know we're gonna show our little age, but remember people used to say that pork was the other white meat. All right. So what we're gonna do, I buy my spices and a lot of times I buy my herbs in bulk. The reason I buy them in bulk like this is because 1, they're a lot cheaper. 2, they move a lot faster in the store. 3, I don't know how long they've been sitting in those containers with all those additives. And if you look sometimes in the certain seasonings, you'll see those little plastic sulfite, I guess that's called sulfite packets that they have inside to keep them from caking up. So when you buy them by bulk, you're actually putting them into the package that you need, knowing how long you have them on your shelf. And actually, I think you get a better flavor profile. All right. So we're going to use a little bit of sage. Okay. So sage is normally used up in the Northeast. It's used a lot of times for poultry. It's actually the major item in poultry seasoning, which a lot of you use during the Thanksgiving season, and then they throw it on the shelf and leave it there for 3 years and come back to it again and again and again. So sage is a very good seasoning that I like to use. It's actually an herb that's ground. So we're just going to add a little bit of our sage in. And if you look at it, it says 1/4 teaspoon. Again, that is what you want. You can put less or you can put more. Okay. So again, this is an art. So we're going to go on this dish. I'm going to go with the 1/4 teaspoon into the turkey. I'm going to add a little bit more into the pork. Pork tends to not pick up the flavor as quickly as the poultry does. Also, if you guys notice these recipes, you might be cooking for one or two. The great thing about this sausage are you can, after we patty them up, you can, whatever you don't cook today, you can wrap them individually in plastic or put them individually into a Ziploc bag and put them in your freezer raw, and then you can cook them as needed. So you can pop them out, in the morning before you go to work and throw it in your pan and cook it, and it's going to stay. It's going to taste, actually, it's going to taste a little bit better because the flavor is going to flow through a little bit more. Is everybody caught up so far? Are we good with where we're at right now? Are we good with where we're at? Everybody's good? Excellent. So we're going to talk about coriander. So coriander right now is a wonderful, wonderful spice that I learned about a long time ago from a Thai friend of mine. But coriander is the actual seed of the cilantro plant. So get what I just said. Coriander is the seed of the cilantro plant. So what that tells you is cilantro being an herb, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in one of our snippets about herbs and spices. But real quick, cilantro being an herb, herbs are flowers and spices are seeds. So out of one plant, you get two different cooking additives, and it happens with a lot of other plants also. So right now we're going to add our coriander, which is the seed of the cilantro plant. And we're going to add, I like coriander. Coriander it's just one of those wonderful flavorings that are just amazing to me. If you ever want a quick tidbit on this, you can add coriander to like your pork ribs or any kind of pork item or even chicken. You add a little bit of orange, coriander, garlic, and if you like, a little bit of lemongrass, but it picks up just a wonderful flavor profile. So I'm going to add just a little more coriander to mine. And so we're going to end up cooking some of these. The rest of them we're going to freeze up and we'll use them later on. All right, now we're going to add our salt and our pepper, guys. All right, if you notice, I'm using measuring spoons, as you can see. All right, we use measuring spoons to make sure that we have some sort of guide, especially when it comes to like your salt and black pepper. All right. So again, on the salt with the turkey, I'm going to use a half a teaspoon here. Okay, and on the pork, I'm going to add just a half a teaspoon and a little tad more. All right, because again, the seasoning in pork doesn't pick up as well as the poultry. Okay, guys, I like a little bit of salt better in there. All right, we're going with a little black pepper. All right. Now, in this dish, you can also add a little bit of crushed red pepper. You can add a little bit of cayenne. You can add a little bit of any kind of seasoning that you like. Okay, this is entirely up to you. Now we're going to add a little bit of our brown sugar. Brown sugar in this dish does a wonderful thing. What the brown sugar does, it actually gives it a little bit of a sweetness, but it also helps with the coloring process. I know a lot of times when we eat, we like to see, because we eat with our eyes first, we like to see some color in our food. So the brown sugar adds that little bit of sweetness and also adds what we call caramelization. Caramelization is browning of sugars. So a lot of times you hear caramelized onions or caramelized garlic and things like that. Well, those items, both of those two have a lot of sugar in them, believe it or not. People don't know that. And when you caramelize it, all you're literally doing is cooking it long enough that the sugars start to transform and they're going to start changing color and they get a little bit sweeter as they go. All right, I'm going to rinse my hands here a little bit because we're going to get in there and mix this up. And we're going to make a couple patties of each one. And I have my griddle on already. We're going to do everything on the griddle today. So we have, not everything, but the French toast and the sausage both will be done on the griddle. So we have the griddle going already. Get it hot. The griddle I'm using is a griddle that has a Teflon coat to it, a non-stick. It goes directly on the burners on your stove. Okay. And what I set it right at about a medium to medium high for the sausage and a little bit lower for the French toast area. Now, with that being said, a lot of you can use your electric griddles and you want to set those up to around 6 or 7 for your sausage. And when you get ready to do your French toast, you want to wipe that griddle down, take your sausage off, wipe your griddle down, and turn your griddle down to about 3 or 4, maybe 5, depending on your particular griddle. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start mixing these. Man, we are mixing this poultry first. All right. And I'm going to patty a couple of these. And the important part about poultry is we want to make sure that our poultry cooks to 165 degrees or more. All right, 165 degrees is where salmonella starts to die. And so we want to make sure so that we don't get anyone ill, especially ourselves, that we get this up to 165 degrees, okay? So we're going to move it around. As you can see, I'm lifting it and squeezing and turning. Lift, squeeze, and turn. The reason I lift, squeeze, and turn is so that we make sure that the all the seasonings and everything gets throughout the entire pork evenly, and we all have enough flavor in it. So now I'm just going to take it with my hand, guys. Don't be afraid to use your hand. This is when I talk about, when I do things like this, I talk about my ancestors, cooking with the ancestors, because this is what made me start doing stuff like this. Cooking was working with my mom and my granddaunts and watching my grandfather and my uncle and watching them all cook. And so when I'm doing things like this, I am back in tune with them. And that's so important to me. I hope it's important to everyone that we stay in tune with our ancestors, because sometimes when I'm cooking, man, I won't even use a measuring device. The only measuring device is I just call on my ancestors to get me through. So just to show you what we have, that's what patty is going to look like. That's a turkey patty, okay? You can make them as big or as small as you like. You can make them as thick or as thin as you like, okay? So these, we're just gonna, these are roughly, if I were to weigh these, are roughly about 1.5 to 2 ounce patty. And we're gonna make it a little bit, I like it a little bit thin. It's gonna fluff a little bit when it cooks. All right, how's that looking, guys? Are we working with me? Everybody moving along with me?
Yes, Chef.
Awesome. So now, because I just did some poultry, and again, we have to be safety first. We're going to go ahead and wash our hands before we did the pork. Now, I could have did the pork first and go into the poultry afterward, but because of the fact that you know, we have people who don't eat pork for a number of different reasons, I wanted to make sure that I did the poultry first and then show everybody else, you know, that we need to make sure that we wash our hands and get moving into the next item, instead of now, you know, grandma would have just went ahead and mixed up that turkey and went right into the pork. All right. But I just wanted to show we have to have be safe. Now you'll see on the pork is a little more coarse than the turkey. So what I'm doing here is I am squeezing down and turning at the same time. The reason I'm doing that is so that I want to start, I don't want the fat in here to actually start to heat up and melt, but I do want it just to get a little bit so that it pulls some of that seasoning in. As we get that seasoning into the fat, that's going to help the flavor in our sausage. All right, so yes.
Is it possible to mix different meats together when you're making this sausage?
Oh, yes, you could use any kind of meat you like. Again, that is entirely up to you. You could use venison, you can use boar, you can use pork, you can use chicken, you can use beef. If you use beef though, guys, remember you have to use at least an 80-20 blend or more. If you can get a 60-40, that'll be even better, because of the beef would be so lean that it would tighten up on your grill. And the idea behind this, these are going to be nice and light in flavor and texture, and have a wonderful flavor that flows through, and that's due to the fat content that is in them. All right. So same thing. I'm just gonna patty them up. We're gonna lay them down here next to each other. All right. We are moving right ahead, rolling on. Is this complicated or intimidating yet to anyone? I think everybody can do this. Again, it's all about how you feel, what your touch is, your flavor profile, how thick, how thin, how big, how small. Entirely up to you. Is everyone caught up so far? As I go, I'm washing my hands again. I'm going to set these to the side, and I'm going to let these patties just set up a little bit, all right, so that they can hold and form. Now, the great thing, you could make these patties earlier and just put them into your refrigerator and cook them directly from the refrigerator. And again, like I told you, if you freeze them, you can cook these directly from frozen to right into the pan. You guys all caught up with me? Everybody caught up? If everybody's caught up, can I see? Let's put some of those patties in front of the camera. Let's see what we got going. I'm gonna move these over to the side while we do that. Oh, Miss Shonda, let's see what we have there. Oh yeah, those look great. Do they feel good? All right, come on, who else is out there? Show me your work. Don't be shy. Come on now. Show me your work. All right, everybody else is being shy. I guess, Miss Shonda, you showed them up. Come on now. All right, so we're gonna go over, I'm gonna move over to the stovetop area where I already have my my griddle going, okay? I'm gonna let that get a little bit hot, just testing and touching to make sure. I don't want to get too hot. Now I can do that. I can do that myself because I've been doing this a long time, guys. Be careful if you're touching your stove, your griddle tops, okay? I don't want anybody to get burnt. One of the big things about my kitchen is safety is always first, okay? So that griddle's getting hot. I'm gonna come on over now and we're gonna start our appareil for the French toast. So appareil basically is the basis for any custard or any kind of dish, quiche, French toast, creme brulee starts with an appareil. Anything that the French have established, and it's made with a egg base or custard base. All right. So I want everybody to get caught up. We're getting ready to do our appareil for the Nouveau French toast. So Nouveau literally means the new way. All right. What we're using it for is you can do French toast the old way, or you can do French toast. I like to call it Nouveau because we're going to add a little bit of Grand Marnier or your favorite cognac and a little orange juice in this. So we're getting ready to do that Nouveau French toast, and want to make sure we have everything ready. We have our eggs. We're going to need some white sugar, some whole milk, little orange juice, vanilla extract, cinnamon, Grand Marnier, or your favorite cognac, challah bread, or Texas toast. Now, or you could use any bread you want. I particularly like to use the challah bread. I'm going to show you what the challah bread looks like before we go any further. So this is our challah bread. Challah bread is it's a Jewish style or Eastern European style bread. And the one that we're going to use today is a braided challah. So I say, sometimes you hear people say challah, sometimes you hear people say challah. Okay, but this is what it looks like. And it's an egg-based bread. It has a wonderful texture, a wonderful flavor when it's made correctly. All right. We also can use Texas toast. So Texas toast is white bread. And of course, everything in Texas is bigger. So it's cut a little bit thicker than your normal white bread. Normal white bread is cut in what they call about 3/8 of an inch. Normal white bread is cut in about 3/8 of an inch. Your Texas toast is cut normally into a 5/8 or larger. Okay, so this is what we're looking at right now. So we're going to set those aside because we're going to use them later. Also with the French toast, a lot of people like to take their bread out and set it out overnight. And once it sets out overnight, it gets a little bit hard, not stale. And when you add it into the appareil, it doesn't soak in as much, so that you still have a nice breading in the center and a nice eggy appareil coating on the outside. All right. Everybody doing okay? Is everybody okay? Everybody caught up? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put the sausage on right now, just so that they can start going a little bit and get cooked through. And then we're coming back for the appareil. So I'm going to put my pork sausage in front here. Does everybody hear that sizzle? That's the sound of your pan talking to you. Oh, I love that sound. That means that everything is just right. All right, so we're gonna let that cook, sizzle and cook. We noticed I did switch hands. I grabbed the pork with my right hand, and I grabbed the turkey with my left. And that's just because, we have people that just, for me in particular here, we have people who don't eat pork and people who, for either religious reasons or personal reasons, but we want to respect everybody's right to what they do, okay? All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and do our appareil. There's gonna be one thing that's not listed on your recipe for the appareil, and that is going to be a little bit of orange zest. We're going to use a little orange zest in our appareil as well as in our butter. Okay, so as we move over, I'm going to grab my eggs from over here. I'm going to bring them over. Eggs, a lot of people don't realize, the French have I worked with a French chef for quite a few years. And what I learned from him was the French take their eggs very seriously. All right. If you can see, I'm breaking my eggs. You can I use one hand, but you can do it with two hands. Just crack them, push them open, pull your shells apart. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and do 4 eggs. So the reason I wanted to talk to you about how the French feel about their eggs is because they're the way that they do eggs and the way they handle eggs, everything from a scrambled egg to an omelet to your creme brulee to your different egg procedures, they're very particular because eggs have a great meaning in cooking in general. But we're going to talk about the elevation and how we take an egg and the volume, the way it increases. We are going to whisk our eggs right now, okay? And when we whisk our eggs, we're gonna use a whisk. So this is a whisk, guys. I don't know if everybody has one. You can do it with a fork. You can do this, but I like to use the whisk, all right? What I'm going to do is I'm gonna break these egg yolks up, all right? Just break the egg yolks up. And then when I use a whisk, I don't go like this around in a circle. We don't do this. This is what we do. I'm going to tilt my bowl just a little bit, and I'm going to go from side to side. The reason I'm going from side to side is because it's going to increase in volume and size, because what's going to happen is that egg is going to pull in more and more air. And that's what I was talking about, the importance of the egg in French cooking, because French cooking a lot of it is about lightness and texture. So when you're whipping those eggs and you go side to side, and sometimes you can even lift them as you go side to side, you lift your whisk up like that. But I don't want you guys doing that yet, because I don't want those, I don't want your egg yolks all over you don't want your eggs all over your countertop. So we're just gonna do the side to side method. Tilt your bowl a little bit. We're just gonna go side to side. Now, we know what it looked like when we started, and we just done a little bit. Can everybody see how that volume has increased? That volume has increased tremendously, correct?
Yes, chef.
All right, I'm gonna walk back over to my sausage because we have to be able to do more than one thing at a time. I know some people call it multitasking and things like that, but we're gonna go ahead and turn our sausage over. See that lightness? It's so light. You're used to those sausages sticking together. All right. And that's our turkey sausage. You see the color profile that's on there? I'm gonna rinse my tongue off. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna turn the pork. You can do this with a fork. A lot of times it's a little easier with a fork than with tongs. Or you can do it the old-fashioned method that I like to do. I just take my hand, turn it over. How is that? How's that looking? How do those sausages look? And how do they smell, guys? They're looking good? Smelling good?
Yes, Chef.
All right, we're gonna get back over here to our appareil. So as I'm whisking these eggs up, notice I'm going side to side, right? My bowl is on a slight tilt. I'm just gonna keep increasing. I want to keep increasing that volume so that egg yolk, those eggs cannot pick up any more air in them. All right, that's what's gonna help our French toast to get a nice light coating, and we have a nice light appareil, all right? You can see as I'm whipping it, you can look at it, and I don't know if you can see that little ribbon that starts flowing behind the whisk. You see those little lines? That's called a ribbon. That lets you know that you're getting quite a bit of air into that egg, which is a great thing. Let's look at what the volume looks like now. All right? Everybody notice the volume on their eggs have picked up tremendously from what we started with? All right. Ooh, that sausage is going well, going well. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and finish up our appareil. We're gonna set that to the side, and then we're gonna talk about eggs a little bit more, okay? Can I see everybody's eggs? See how their eggs are doing? Can I see everybody's eggs? All right, there we go. Okay, looking good there, looking good. Anybody else gonna show me some work? All right, we're going. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and start adding our items that we need to the rest of our appareil, okay? First thing we have is we're gonna add a little bit of white sugar, right? And it calls for a half a cup of white sugar. So everybody have their measuring cups? I have mine. We have our measuring cups. There you go. All right. Half a cup of white sugar. All right. And one thing that we're going to do as we are adding these ingredients in, we're going to continue to whisk. Again, because we're still whisking in air and we're also incorporating the flavors. And the more that we can get these items to rub up against each other, if we think about it, it's just like people. More that it can rub against each other, the better flavor profile we're going to end up having, okay? So we're going to add our egg whites. Again, I'm whisking. Our sugar. I'm on these eggs, guys. I am on these eggs today. We're going to add that sugar again. Tilt my bowl, and I'm going to whisk it. You should feel those eggs get a little bit thicker as you're whisking it. That's your base. Now your base for a custard, okay? You feel the thickness happening? All right. I'm gonna go back over. We're gonna go ahead and check our sausage. We said what, 165 degrees, right? So we're gonna use our thermometer here. So we have our trusty dusty thermometer. All right. And the way we're gonna temp it, we're gonna stick the thermometer into one and place it on top of another one. And then we're gonna look for temperature rise. And as we see, the temperature right now on our turkey sausage is right at about 170 degrees. Can everybody see that?
Yes, Chef.
All right, that means that they are ready. 165 degrees or better, right? Correct?
Yes, Chef.
All right. I'm sorry. Here we go. Let's check these. And you'll feel the difference in the lightness. I'm sorry, that was the pork. This is the turkey. And we can go in here now like this, okay? Let's see the temperature. We're right at about 168, 160. Let's see where we are. 168, yep. So we're above 165. We're gonna pull those off to the side, right? And we're gonna let them rest, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe my thermometer down a little bit. Set it back to the side. And we're gonna get that little extra piece off. And we're gonna taste this one. Okay, guys? Mm. Mm, mm, mm.
Question, Chef.
Mm-hmm.
At what point should you taste to see if you need to add more spices or herbs to your sausage meat?
Great point. Because sausage meat is raw, I would not advise, and I know back in the day, grandma would mix up raw ground beef and things like that and taste it as she goes. I wouldn't advise doing it that way. What I advise is when you make your sausage meat, place a little bit on the grill, a little tiny bit, let it cook a little, and then taste it. And that will let you know if you need to add more seasoning or if you need to add less seasoning. All right? Do not eat. I do not advise eating raw meat. Okay, guys? Does that make sense?
Yes, Chef.
All right. So we have our egg whites in. We have our eggs. I don't know why I'm going on these egg whites, guys. I must think we're gonna make some meringue or something. Hey, you know what? That's gonna be in one of our other classes. If you guys saw our snippet on eggs earlier in our video blog, we talk a lot about eggs. All right. So we're going so I added my white sugar. Now we're gonna add a little bit of whole milk. Okay. Now I said whole milk because, again, we need the fat content, guys. No matter what, we still need the fat content in these items. We're gonna add 1 cup of whole milk. Don't worry, guys, we're getting to the pièce de résistance in a few minutes, okay? 1 cup whole milk. All right, going right in. Then we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of orange juice. All right, and I'm gonna switch my measuring cup for this. And the reason that I did not whisk when I'm putting the whole milk in is because I want that to set a little bit, get that fat going. But as we go ahead and add this orange juice, we're definitely going to whisk our apparet. So one thing, I add my milk first because there's acid that can be in the orange juice that can actually start to cook our eggs. So we don't want little scrambled pieces of eggs in our apparet. So one of the ways to stop that from happening is, again, our favorite thing dealing with eggs is air. So now we're going to add this orange juice and we're going to whisk it really quick because we want to make sure that we can get enough air in there to offset the acid that may be in that orange juice. And we never know how much acid's in that orange juice until you put it in. All right? Everybody caught up so far?
Yes, Chef.
All right. One of the reasons I cooked the sausage first, because I didn't know how much room everybody would have on their griddle once we start the French toast. But the sausage, you can actually reheat in your microwave if you like. I tend to sometimes like my sausage at room temperature. That's just my preference. I know people that put syrup on their sausage and all kind of different things, but we're gonna go from there. So, got that whisked in good. Next thing we're gonna add is we're gonna start adding in our vanilla extract, cinnamon, and we're gonna add a little bit of Grand Marnier. Yes?
Must we whisk continuously to keep the eggs from cooking?
Once you add your acids and you've whisked in the beginning, you don't have to anymore. We're gonna set this to the side and let it rest. But in the initial aspect, because what we're literally doing is we're adding in that acid, and the friction is heating it up and cooking that acid off so that we don't have to worry about it affecting our eggs any longer. Okay, again, we're getting ready to put in vanilla extract, right? Vanilla extract is an acid also. Okay, so with that, we're going to put about a capful in. Now, you know, Grandma never used a measuring spoon of vanilla extract, right? Am I right, guys?
Yes, Chef.
All right, so we're going to use a capful. Even though we're doing Nouveau, we still got to pay homage to the old ways. So now when I put this capful in again, here we go. That acid, and the better your vanilla, the more flavor you're going to have. You know, vanilla that comes out of Madagascar is probably the best in the world. Next to that is a lot of vanilla that comes from Mexico. Okay? So you'll get that going. Notice my whisk is always going side to side. And I don't know if you guys have realized how much volume keeps increasing. Even though we've added liquid, this kit still increases in volume due to the air that's incorporated into the egg. Now we're going to add our cinnamon, guys. Now, when I talk to you about preferences, you know, things like that, this is one of those items that's definitely your preference. Cinnamon, some people like a lot of cinnamon, some people don't. I tend to like a lot of cinnamon, but when we add the cinnamon, it's important, especially if you're going to add quite a bit, you want to be, now you see that's a heaping teaspoon I'm putting in there, right? But I'm going to be whisking as I put it in, because we know people that use cinnamon, what'll happen is if you don't whisk it, it'll clump up on you. And then you have big clumps of cinnamon in your apparat. And that's not what we want. We want some little pieces of cinnamon. As you can see, it's coming apart here. When it rests, you'll see the difference, and it actually helps with the appearance on your French toast. Now, what I want everybody to do, I want everybody to lean forward into their bowl, okay? Lean forward towards your bowl. Lean forward, take your hand, and I want you to just push your hand up towards your nose and tell me what that smells like. That should smell so good. Anybody know? Anybody smelling it? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, guys, here we go. So now, this is the pièce de résistance, as we call it as it goes in. We're going to add something that is called Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier is an orange liqueur. You can drink this normally in France. It would be what they call a digestif. So that would mean after you finish your meal, you would have, so if you were doing a French course meal, you would start off with an aperitif, which is a liqueur that would actually start your appetite going. Then you would go into a palate cleanser and some other items that take you through the entire course. And at the very end of your course, you would have what they call a digestif. All right. And Grand Marnier is a digestif. So Grand Marnier is an orange flavored liqueur used normally in France as a digestif, but it's a great tasting orange cognac based item. Years ago, we used to drink this, me and a good friend of mine, and he used to call it Grandma Yay Yay. That's what he used to say. We're going to have some Grandma Yay Yay. And I said, oh, we're going to get some Grandma Yay Yay. That's what we're getting. So in honor of him, we get ready to put some Yay Yay into this apparat. All right. Are we ready for that? All right. So on this Yay Yay, again, guys, it's all about your particular preference. It calls for about a quarter teaspoon or a capful. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and put about a half a teaspoon into mine and a little bit more. All right. But again, this is an acid, right? So what do we have to be careful of as we put this in? We have to still be careful, even though we do have other liquids in here, which will help, but we still have to make sure that we don't want that to hit any of the egg that's still in there that may be hanging around loose, and it'll cook up and you'll have a little bit of scrambled eggs in there. All right. I know you're watching me. So now back in the day, my girlfriend, I'm gonna tell you who my girlfriend is. she would be cooking and she would say something like, oh, we're going to put a little capful into the appareil. And then we're going to put a little capful into us. And then a little capful into the appareil and a little capful into us. That would be my girl, Julia Childs. She was one of the most amazing chefs that you can imagine. I know a lot of people think that she was just a funny talking lady who was on TV, but actually she was an excellent, excellent, excellent chef. I have numerous of her cookbooks, and they are very, very informative. Even to this day, I use them. I still go to her cookbook. I make French bread a couple times a year, and she has the best French bread recipe ever. So just want you guys to know that. So I told you we're going to add a little bit of extra for those that came to the class. They're going to get this. Those that didn't won't. Okay. So if you're here, feel blessed, because I'm about to bless you with something that's wonderful. We're going to.
Chef?
Yes.
Should our appareil be as dark as your appareil?
Depending on how much cinnamon you put in. My appareil is dark because I put a good amount of cinnamon in. I like a lot of cinnamon. And again, remember I told you that what we're doing right now is all about your personal taste, your personal preference. All right? So I'm going to show you a couple things. We're going to add a little bit of zest. And when we're zesting this, I'm going to use what we call a zester. So this is a zester. It's like a mini micro grater. So if you look at it on the front, it's like little grate. Don't be careful if you get one because it will cut you. And on the back, it just everything will slide through. So we're going to take our orange and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to grate in. We're going to grate our orange and get the zest off. The key to a good zest is that you make sure that you only get the yellow part, the outer skin of anything that you're zesting, especially citrus. All right. So with that being said, underneath this yellow skin is a white membrane. If you get too much white membrane into your item, it's going to make it have a bitter flavor. Okay. So we're going to be very cautious with this. Before I start zesting, I'm going to ask, is everybody caught up? And
Yes, chef.
And if you don't have a zester, don't worry. I'm going to show you what you can do. Okay? So
Yes.
we're going to add just a little bit of zest. I'm going to grade this over. And notice I'm moving my orange around as I'm zesting. The reason being, I want to see that little bit of yellow underneath. I don't want to see it bright white. If it's white under there, that means I've got too much membrane into my dish. Okay? And it's going to be a little bitter. So that's why I move it as I go. And we only need a little bit. All right? So we're going to set this orange down. I'm going to turn this over to show you. See all that zest on the back of there? That's your zest. We're just going to knock that into the dish. Like so.
Chef?
Yes.
The fact that we're zesting our orange, does that mean we have to wash our orange before we zest?
Yes, we should. Also, in this day and age, all of our fruits and veggies need to be washed, guys. We don't wash them with soap and water. We don't wash them with anything like that. We wash them with just plain cold water, but they need to be washed. You guys have seen and heard and read about all kind of foodborne illnesses from unclean produce, which can make you very sick and make you very ill. All right. So as we move on, I'm going to set my appareil to the side. All right. And we're going to come back to it when we get ready to make our French toast. I'm going back over here because I'm going to show you guys how to do a zest if you do not have a zester. So if you don't have a zester, what you're going to do is you're going to take your orange, right? And you're going to take just a piece of the peel. So I'm going to take a little bit off the top so that I can see the peel, right? Can everybody see this? I'm going to come right down the side of the orange. Okay, don't worry about the white that's in there right now. I'm going to set this to the side because what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. This is where you have to be careful, okay? You're going to take your orange, you're going to take one part of it, you're going to hold it down with your fingers like so. Notice I'm putting my three fingers behind the two that are holding and my thumb. So nothing's gonna be in front of my knife. This will be the front of the knife. Everything is behind. I'm just gonna take the knife and I'm gonna go in on an angle and I'm just gonna rub my knife gently across and do not cut through. Just stay on an angle and rub it gently through and that membrane is gonna just come right up for you and you'll see. You see that? This is what you don't want in your dish. This is what you want in the dish. So I'm going to turn it around now and I'm going to go back the other way. Again, just be very gentle. And all you need to do, you're going to angle your knife down, probably about, for you mathematicians out there, probably about 30 degrees, 30 to 45 degrees. And we're just going to slide your knife down. It should catch right underneath that membrane and pull that membrane right off. Again, this is what you don't want in your dish. You see that white? That is bitter. That's a membrane. This is what we want in the dish. Then we're going to come back and we're going to end up mincing this. So we're going to slice it very, very thin. If you notice, we're slicing thin, right? See how it's just very thin strips? All right. Everybody noticing?
Yes, chef.
Now we're going to turn them sideways. All right. So they're going sideways now, right? This is your standard base of cutting any item pretty much into any of the basic cutting, basic what they call cuts of a kitchen, being a minced, a diced, a brunoise, a medium dice, a large dice, a bâtonnet, a julienne, all right? And we will talk about that in one of our other snippets. So guys, keep looking forward to our video blogs because we're gonna keep talking about these things. This is just not a one-time class that I'm trying to show you everything I know and impress you. This is a continual so that I can teach you everything I know so that you can impress somebody else, all right? So now we're gonna take these and we're just gonna cut them as thin as we can get. And you see how thin I'm getting it? Yours probably won't be as thin. I've been doing this a long time. So now you have your zest without having a zester. So I'm gonna take this over. Actually, I'm gonna hold on to this because I'm gonna use zest into our butter, which we're gonna do next. So we're gonna make another quick compound butter. You guys remember from our first class, we made a strawberry compound butter. I love compound butters. You can put anything into a butter and it just enhances the flavor of everything. In French cooking, butter goes in everything because they say butter makes everything great. In Chef Carrington's cooking, I like to put butter in everything, but I like to put everything in the butter too. Because when you put things in the butter and you put it on something else, it just melts and intensifies the flavor, whatever that item is. So something as simple as a good steak. If you take a softened butter and you add a little bit of salt, pepper, and granulated garlic into that butter, and you can add anything else that you like in there, maybe a little bit of thyme, even a little bit of rosemary, and you mix that in, what happens is once you have your steak is done, as soon as you pull it off the grill, you pop a good piece of that butter right on top. Man, it makes that steak so much better. And the reason I'm telling you about we cooking French toast being sweet, but I'm talking about steak being savory to show you that the versatility of the items that we're using can be used in a number of different ways. So compound butter is one of those. This particular compound butter that we're making right now is a sweet butter. And it's a sweet with a little bit of tinge of a little bit of acid flavor because of the orange marmalade. So the last one we did was totally sweet with the strawberries because strawberries are really sweet and rich. Marmalade, orange marmalade has a little bit of a on the end. So we this actually works well with the French toast also. All right. So I got my butter melting right over here. Guys, we see the butter. All right. We're talking about Mo Better butter. I know those of you that are old enough remember, hopefully you remember, Spike Lee, he did Mo Better Blues. We doing Mo Better butter. All right. So that zest that I just cut off, I'm not going to waste it, guys. I'm going to add that into my butter. Bam. Look at that. Right in there. Okay. Next thing that we need, if we look down at our recipe for our orange butter, So we have our 2 sticks of butter. We have some softened at room temperature. We're going to use a little bit of confectionery sugar. Now it says 2 tablespoons of confectionery sugar. Sounds like a lot, but remember that orange marmalade, even though it's made with sugar and has a sweetness, there's also that little tinge of citrus sour. So we're going to offset that a little bit by using the confectionery sugar. All right, I already added some orange zest into that. All right, I'm adding a little bit extra. We don't want to waste it. So on our board, we just add a little bit in there. So I'm going to come over here to our confectionery sugar. So we go on the confectionery sugar. This would be what grandma used to say, the 10x sugar. Baby, get that 10x sugar out for me. And I'd be like, 10x, I ain't come here to do a math class. Why am I learning about 10x? She said, shut up, baby, and get that 10x sugar. And I shut my mouth and I got that 10x sugar. And we're going to put this 10x sugar right in here with the butter. We let our butter sit out for a while, right? So it's been softened. Mine, you know what? I cheated a little bit because I left mine out overnight.
And Chef,
Yes.
why did your grandmother call it 10x sugar?
They call it 10x sugar because of the refining process in sugar. So you have your granulated sugar, and which is your normal. So you start with brown sugar, which is the least processed of the, believe it or not, white sugars. You have turbino, which is less processed than the brown sugar also, which is a molasses base. But 10x means that it has been refined and ground 10 times into a powder. All right. So we got the 10x in. Now, feeling my mama. I'm feeling my auntie. I'm going to go ahead now. We're going to add a little bit of our orange marmalade. All right. The orange marmalade that I like to use, there's a particular brand of jellies and preserves and marmalade. Marmalade is a preserve also that I like to use. And since I don't endorse anybody yet, because they don't endorse me yet, we won't discuss what it's called, but it does have a top like this. And I will tell you that it is not, as my wife pointed out earlier today, it doesn't start with an S. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add this orange marmalade, nice big heaping tablespoons. And guys, I know for you go, a lot of you are saying, wow, what's so much butter and things like that, and the sausage is so much and things like that. The reason that I do these recipes like this, guys, I'm not trying to feed you one day for one meal. These items that we're doing, you can hold on to them and use them later on. You can put them in your refrigerator, you put them in your freezer, and it just lasts longer and longer. Those sausage, man, you put those in the freezer, you got 6-month lifespan on that sausage. And you guys have children and kids that you need to feed before you go to school sometime, and you don't want to stop by and get them that in the South here, kolache, and you want to stop by and get them a decent meal in the morning. Instead of doing that, throw that sausage in the pan real in the morning before you go get in the shower or whatever. Put a cover on it nice and low. When you come back, turn it over, those sausages are ready to go. And it's a nice, wholesome, healthier option than all the fast food that's out there. All right, so this is why I do this, just to show you these different things. Now, before I mix this up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on our hard-boiled eggs. All right, so hard-boiled eggs, because I'm going to teach you how to make eggs. I know I said 3 ways, but for those of you that came to the class, you're going to get lucky because we're going to show you about 5 different ways. All right, so hard-boiled eggs, the thing about a hard-boiled egg is it only takes 20 minutes from the time you put it on the fire till the time it comes off, not 20 minutes after it starts boiling. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm putting the eggs in the pot. I'm going to cover them with water, and we're going to put this on the fire, in a nice hot fire. I'm going to get this to a rolling boil. All right, I don't know if you guys can see me, but I'm putting it on the stove right now. I'm going to turn that fire on to the high rolling boil, okay? And I'm gonna set a timer. Guys, I've been doing this a long time, and a lot of people say, I don't need timers. I put timers on everything. If I'm putting something in the oven, I put a timer on it. I don't care, I put timer on everything. I tell you what, I'm old. Now that's for me to say. No, none of y'all say that. All right. When y'all say, y'all just say, oh, Chef Carrington, he's just mature. I'm old, so I may forget. So I'm setting this timer for 20 minutes. For those of y'all that are mature like me, all right? Just get yourself a little egg timer. You can use a timer on your microwave, timer on your stove, whatever you like to use. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and put a timer on the stove also, just because. So I'm gonna set this timer for 20 minutes. All right, and we're gonna get those going, and we're gonna let those eggs come to a boil. We'll let those come to a good boil and get going. While that's happening, guys, our appareil is all set. Our sausage is done and ready to go. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mix up our orange butter. All right, we're gonna mix that in and get that going. And we're gonna set that to the side. Do we have any questions so far about anything? Any questions? Is everybody caught up? Everybody have their boiled eggs on the fire? No? Yes? Maybe so?
Yes, Chef.
Awesome. Who was that? That came through great. Thank you. All right. So everybody's caught up. Everybody's sausage. Don't be eating no sausage now. I know you'll cook them off. Don't be eating your sausage until until it's time. I know they smell so good. I know y'all want to eat them as you go. No, if you don't have no sausage with your meal till later on, don't blame Chef Carrington. All right? All right. So here we are now. We're moving right along. And so we're moving right along, and we're going to go ahead. So this butter, you see how soft this butter is, guys? Just leave it out at night. Now, I will tell you, there is a butter that I really like to use. It's an Irish butter, all right? And it's grass-fed cows. But you can find it in you can find it in a couple of your big box chains right now, your local supermarket. And it's a wonderful, wonderful butter. And I know it sounds crazy. You talk about butter being wonderful. Yeah, it really is a good butter. So the reason I tell you about this butter here being something that you can use later on, you know, I make up these compound butters and I leave them in my refrigerator. Sometimes in the morning. This week, I had some orange butter made, and I was up and I just didn't want to eat too much of anything. So I made some cinnamon raisin toast, and I just spread a little bit of this orange butter on it. And I was like, ooh, cinnamon raisin toast with a little bit of orange butter. Ooh, come on now.
Chef,
Yes, I have an answer.
what makes a good butter?
What makes a good butter? Well, like anything else, it's the cow, starts with the cow, and then the process. That's the difference. A grass-fed cow should have a better flavor content, even in with your steaks, your beef, your meats, and everything else. Grass-fed cows have a better flavor profile than corn-fed. And a lot of times the corn is, you know, it's, I don't want to get into this deep conversation, but it's GMO. All right. So a lot of times, so when you get you look in your store and it says grass-fed beef, you're going to notice the price is going to be a lot different than your regular beef that's in the case. All right. Great question though. So here we go. Here's the butter. All right. So now I'm just going to transfer this butter. See how nice and soft and creamy it is? Can everybody see that?
Yes, Chef.
All right. And we're just going to slide it into just a little pretty little glass serving dish. All right, here we go. So much. Any questions so far, guys? Let me see your butters. More better butter? Can I see somebody's butter? Nobody gonna show me any? Here we go. I see one butter. Not yet. I'm looking. Where's the butter? Got to put it in front of the camera. Got to hold it up to the camera. Got to hold the butter up to the camera. Put it up to your face. Put the butter up. There you go. Now tilt it. Turn to your right. Now tilt it a little bit. Tilt it. All right. How's it smell? All right. That's what we're talking about. Anybody else showing us some butter? More better butter? All right, guys. We're moving right along here. I'm going to take our butter. We're going to set our butter to the side. All right. Everything's coming along. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get this, I'm going to actually slide this to the front where we get a little more heat. We're going to get to the, we're going to start our French toast and our poached egg. All right. Let me get these hard-boiled eggs going. Come to hard boil. We're going to come to hard boil. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, guys, do we have any questions? Anything? As we're moving along. Everybody's good.
Yes, Chef.
I have
All
a
right,
question.
so now I'm going to go
I have
ahead.
a question.
Awesome. What is the question?
What are we gonna use this butter for? To make the French toast?
We're going to use the butter on top of the French toast
Okay.
after the French
All right.
toast is done. That's why I set it to the side and keep it nice and soft, okay?
Right.
All right. So I wouldn't put this butter on our griddle because of the sugar in the marmalade and because of the sugar and the confectionery sugar, it'll burn to your griddle and you will never get it off and you'll just ruin the
Right.
griddle. Okay?
Okay.
So we're
Yeah.
actually going to put it right on top of the
French
right on
toast.
top of the French toast. It's going to run down the side. Ooh.
Yes, thank
Ooh. Yes. All right. So I'm going to bring the bread over. And we talked about the challah bread earlier, right? And the French toast. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice our challah bread. All right. And we're going to slice it probably about 5/8, about as thick as the Texas toast. Okay. And we're going to get it sliced.
Question, Chef.
Yes.
Why does French toast bread have to be sliced thick?
It doesn't. You could actually use your regular slice of white bread. It's just, for me, and I think for most people, the texture just changes so much. And it actually, with the thinner the bread, the soggier that toast becomes, and it doesn't have such a great mouthfeel when it's thin. That's my opinion. I like a nice thick piece of challah bread. Most of the time when you go out, you're going to find either French toast made with Texas toast or challah bread, or they may even use a French baguette and it'll be cut thick also. Great question.
Question, Chef.
Yes,
Can we use wheat bread for our French toast?
you can. You can use wheat bread. You can use an oatmeal bread. You can use any kind of bread you like. Again, we're talking about cooking being an art, and it's all subjective. So it's subjective to what you like, what you think is best. So you can use any kind of bread you like. I wouldn't use like a pita bread, or I wouldn't use an unleavened bread, but any other type of bread you could use would be this good. All right, I'm just going to slice this up a little bit more. I'm going to show you the inside of the challah, and so that you can see the difference in color. A brioche is another bread that you could actually use. All right. Do you see the insides of that bread?
Yes, Chef.
You see the lightness. So whenever you look at bread, you look at how light the bread will be by the air pockets in the bread, the air holes. So French bread, Italian bread, those things are wonder why they taste good and why they taste so much different is because they're not as dense as, say, a white bread. Ciabatta bread is another one. People went crazy over ciabatta bread a few years ago, and you might have heard people say things like, well, I like it because the cells are so large. And all they're just saying to you is, oh, I like it because it's got big air holes. That's all it means. Sounds better to say, oh, the cells are so large, but it's really just about the, and being from the Northeast, where we get crusty bread, which is very hard to come across here in the South, especially the mid-South or the deep South. The bread is not as crusty due to the humidity in the air. So when you have those large cell breads, they are very crusty on the outside, which gives a wonderful, wonderful crunch to a sandwich, or to just dipped in some oil and garlic and herbs or somewhere like that. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. So here we go. All right. Now we want to look at this pot. See, when pot started is getting to a boil. Now we notice again, this pot here started, we started the timer as soon as we put the pot on the fire. I know a lot of times people will just go ahead and they put the egg on the water and then wait till it starts to boil to start the timer. And that really overcooks your hard-boiled egg. It doesn't get that nice lightness to it, okay? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. We're gonna talk about hard-boiled eggs. We're gonna talk about over easy, over medium, over hard. We're gonna talk about poached eggs. Everybody ever had a poached egg? Anybody not have a poached egg before? Everybody's had poached eggs?
Never had a poached egg. Never.
Okay.
Me either.
Have we heard of poached eggs?
Yes, of course.
Are we scared of poached eggs?
Maybe.
All right.
Yes.
I know most people are. Poached eggs are actually wonderful. So it's actually one of my favorite eggs. I mean, again, I know I'm talking to some Northeasterners up there right now, and I know you guys probably eat corned beef hash, correct?
Of course.
All right. One of the greatest things you ever can have is a corned beef hash with a poached egg on top of it. It is amazing. And the reason that people are scared of poached egg because they think it's a raw egg yolk. Essentially, it's lightly cooked. The egg yolk is lightly cooked. The great part about it is that the coagulation of the egg white that will either surround, if you use a pot full of water, if you use a low amount of water, will make a crown around the egg yolk. And you'll see the difference. What we're going to do today, you'll see the difference in how the poached eggs are. All right. I would like for you, if you can, try the poached egg. Don't be afraid. Try. Like I used to tell my children, I tell cooks that I've trained, managers that I've trained, everybody comes with an assumption of, I don't like this and I don't like that. And I always ask them, have you tasted this? Have you tasted that? No, I never tasted it. I said, so you really don't know what you don't like until you try it. So there's nothing wrong with not liking something if you've tried it to know that you don't like it. But there's all in the world something wrong with saying you don't like something and you've never tried it because you limited yourself. All right. So the one thing about cooking, the one thing about eating, everybody eats food throughout the entire world. So cooking is the ability to try different things, to understand different cultures and different worlds, because everybody eats. So don't be afraid to try anything, but you don't have to like anything. Okay. The sad part is if we don't try. All right. So we're going to make some egg yolk, some poached eggs today. We're going to make a little bit of over easy egg. We're already going on our hard boiled egg. So from the over easy egg, I'm going to teach you how to make about 3 to 4 different eggs just by using the same technique. All right. We excited? We strapped in? We're flying high, ready to roll? Because we get ready to get to it now, ladies and gentlemen. All right. All right, here we go. So we got a hard boil going right now on our egg yolk, on our hard boiled eggs. ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why I am so in tune right now with egg yolks and egg whites. I must be getting ready to make either some hollandaise or some béarnaise or some meringues or something. I don't know what's in my spirit because I keep saying egg yolks and egg whites. And man, there's so much that we can do with the yolks and the whites that we make different sauces and different applications. All right, here we go. Moving right along. So, French toast time. Again, do not touch your griddle with your bare hand, please. I touch mine because I am trying to check the temperature and know where I am. I'm going to use a little bit of a canola oil spray on my grill. Okay, you can use butter. Someone mentioned the butter. You can use vegetable spray. You can use a pan coating. Even though I have a non-stick pan on, I definitely still want to spray it somewhat just so that my pan will stay non-stick. All right. Okay, so we're going to do a couple things while we're doing this. All right. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to start our poaching liquid. Okay. And what I'm using is a small sauce pan, not a sauce pot. This would be called, what you're going to see me put on the fire in a minute, is what in French we would call a sauterne. Okay. And it's a small sauce pan, not a fry pan and not a sauce pot. All right. So this is a sauce sauterne. So what it is it's a little wider on the top, a little shallower to the sides, and it's also it has low edges around, but not as far, not like a fry pan.
Question, Chef.
Does it matter the quality of the egg?
Does it matter the quality of the egg? I believe it does. I think eggs, again, working with the French, is very important. You know, and the reason I like a particular brand of eggs that I find has a very high protein content when I use it compared to just a generic based egg. There's also free range eggs. Now let's go back to grandma and auntie and all them. They tell you about them brown eggs. Everybody, the brown eggs are richer and everything else. And that is slightly true, but really the color of the egg really is based on the actual chicken. That's a whole nother class we'll get into. But yeah, the quality of the egg makes all the difference in the world and how it turns out. I pay a little bit more for my eggs because I like a very high protein egg, being the protein of the egg white. And also people for years are so afraid of the egg yolk, but the egg yolk has quite a bit of protein in it also. It does have some cholesterol, but we all need those in our bodies, but it also has a good amount of protein in the particular eggs that we use. If you want to know, you can ask in the chat and they'll tell you what egg we use, because we don't really endorse anything right now, but I want everybody to be able to use the best product that they can get their hands on. All right. Any other questions? Everybody caught up? All right, here we go. As we roll, our time is still going. The boiled eggs is still going. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring our French toast over to the stove where we have our griddle going. So now we talked about the appareil. Now you see how dark, well, let me show you before I mix it brown. I'm just going to show you how dark my appareil looks right now. And that is because the cinnamon is floating on top. But I'm just going to move it just a little bit and you can see, and I don't want to spill it all out because I could be messy. And then somebody else has to clean it up and then it'd be mad. But that's just the laws of the kitchen. The chef can be a little messy sometimes. But you see moving around, you'll see it'll get lighter because that's just most of the cinnamon floating to the top right now. All right, so we're going to test a little bit. I'm going to do my finger test, guys. I'm going to wash my hands again just so that You guys know that we are clean and healthy. I'm gonna take my finger in here. I'm gonna mix it around. I'm gonna drop just a little bit on here. Ah, do you see that sizzle? That's what we're looking for. That is the sizzle that we're looking for. All right, so I'm gonna put the Texas toast onto the back. And I'm gonna go ahead and dip it in. I'm gonna hold it in a little bit because it's been sitting out a while. I want it to get absorbed very good. And we're gonna put it on. We hear that? Do we hear that?
Yes, Chef.
All right.
Question, Chef.
Yes.
We saw you do a flip,
Yes.
flip, and a flip.
A flip, flip, flip.
How many flips per side?
As many as you need that you feel. Again, it's all about the art and the texture of what we're doing. So for me, I don't want it too soggy, but I do want some flavor flowing through there. And I want to feel that I have a French toast. So what I do is I flip it. Now we're going with the challah bread. So I'm going to flip it just twice, once and over for the challah bread. Because the challah bread is going to absorb a little bit more and actually have a good feel on the inside. So I want you guys to see what that looks like on there, okay?
We hear that sizzle, Chef.
You hear the sizzle? That's what I'm talking about. That's when your pan is talking to you. When you hear that sizzle, we know we're heading in the right direction. All right. How much time we have left? We have about 5 minutes left. Oh, okay. Cut that off. We got about 5 minutes left on this time. Oh, we got about 3 minutes left. So here's the secret, guys. I'm going to tell you something about a boiled egg that the person that taught me about this boiled egg was my dad, of all people. And I still think about it. And again, this is when I talk about cooking is just so many memories. My dad is not the greatest cook in the world, to say the least. But he did teach me something about a hard-boiled egg. And he taught me a long time ago, once you cook that hard-boiled egg, you put that whole pot of hot water right into your sink under a real slow stream of cold water. And you let that slow stream just run in there for a while. And then I'm going to show you how we crack it, and that peel should not stick. And I usually have a lot of great success with that. All right, so that hard-boiled egg is getting ready to come off right now. And then we're going to go ahead and move the other pot. We're going to go ahead and start our poached. All right. And we'll start our poached egg. I'm going to take this fire off here, turn that off. I'm going to grab my, guys, make sure you use a towel so we don't burn our hands. We're grabbing these hot pots, okay? And we're going to walk over to our sink here. I'm going to sit it down right in the sink under the faucet. And just a slow stream, I mean really slow stream of cold water, and just let it go a little bit. And we're gonna let that water's gonna run over eventually, and that's fine. Because we're gonna put our hands right in that pot. And when we put our hands in that pot, we don't want to burn them. All right? Any questions? Guys, we caught up? Everybody enjoying what we're doing?
Yes, Chef.
All right. I'm getting ready to take out. We're getting down to the wire here, guys. I just want you to know. All right. All right. I'm getting ready to heat my pan up for our over easy egg. So, and when I talk to you about these eggs, over easy, over medium, over hard, if you read on your recipe instructions, you will see the only difference in those eggs are the fact that, there we go. The fact that it's just time, how much time it takes to actually cook. So from one egg, from the sunny side, and we're gonna flip, the sunny side before. We won't flip the sunny side, and everything else gets flipped. It's all about time and how long it takes to cook. All right. So we're gonna let this go a little bit more. Get a little fire into here. All right, so what we want to do on your poached eggs, we want to get the water to a good boil, good sizzle, and we're going to spin the pan. We're going to spin that water to make sure. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of acid. So you need acid for a poached egg, okay? It could be vinegar or lemon juice. This week, I'm going to use a little bit of lemon juice. Sometimes I use vinegar. Depends on how I feel and what I feel like doing. So what I'm gonna do, I am going to break my eggs into a small bowl, all right? And can you guys see the bowl here on the board? I'm over here on the board, get the bowl. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna break my eggs into the bowl, okay? I do have a garbage right on the side of me. I don't want you guys to think I'm throwing it on the floor. So we're gonna break that egg in. All right. And this way we can get it incorporated into our pan. We're gonna use this for the sunny side and the over easy. And we get it incorporated into the pan a lot easier. On the poach, we're gonna actually do it individually, one at a time, into the poach pan, okay? So now I got my poach. It's not at a full boil yet. I'd like to get it to a higher boil. Actually, what I am going to do here, I'm going to switch these fires here. I'm going to bring this pan to the front again because we're going to get a. This is our super boiled water boils faster. And I'm going to do the over easies back here, the sunny up back here. All right, get our pan hot. We're going to spray it. We're going to spray it. And I'm going to actually lower the temperature a little bit on the back because we're going to try to get it to just get that egg white to cook around the sides. I'm going to pour these eggs right in, like so. Right into the pan. That's it. All right. And this is going to be a sunny up. And then after that, I'm going to show you how we'll do the over easy, over medium, over hard. Okay. Let's check out French toast. Should be about ready. Let's take a look. We can let those go a little bit longer. Again, it's all about touch and feel. The Texas toast is ready. You see the color on these Texas toasts? Can you see the color? Does that look good?
Yes, Chef.
All right. So what I'm going to show you real quick, while that's still going, I'm going to come over. I'm going to add my acid to my poached water. All right. And add a little bit of acid. Okay, we'll show you a little measure just for those. I do free pour things like this. Just a little bit of lemon juice. It's about 1.5 cups. That's going to go. I want to show you, we're going to break one egg at a time to add into our poaching liquid. Coming down to the wire here, guys. Everybody coming? Everybody caught up with me? Is anybody making a poached egg?
I'm gonna try it.
All right, so we got that water to a boil. I'm spinning the water a little bit. So as we add the egg into it, we're just going to gently roll it around so that we're going to get some coagulation. It's going to make a nice crown. And we're going to put one more egg in. We're only going to let that go for a couple minutes once we get that coagulation. All right. Spinning it around. So if we had filled this pot up with water to cover the egg whites would have went all around the egg itself, the yolk itself. But I didn't want that. I just wanted a light crown. And there we go. You see what's happening to that egg? We just want a little crown on there and get the egg whites to coagulate. My sunny up is going well in the back. While that's all happening, I want to take my French toast and I'm going to cut it. We're going to set this up because I want you guys to see. I'm going to cut it on the diagonal. And we see the board here? Anybody on the board? We're going to set it on the diagonal, okay? And we're going to take I'm going to come back over to the board, make it easier for everybody else. I'm going to take out butter while that French toast is still hot. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of butter on there. And that butter is going to start to melt down slowly. How does that look so far, guys?
Delicious,
All
chef.
right, and then we take out a little bit of sausage. I'm looking over at my egg. Oh, they're looking good over here. Turn this over here. Sunny up is looking good. All right. So while that's going, we're gonna take a little bit of orange. We're gonna put a little bit of, notice I'm gonna slice of orange nice and thin. All right. And we'll put it on the plate. Okay. And I use a little bit of blackberries. You can use raspberries, blueberries. You can, again, this is all subjective to your what you like. And this is all just for our garnish. We want to make it flavor on the plate. Anybody like blackberries?
Yeah.
You can use raspberries, strawberries. You can use anything that you want on this plate. I want you guys to pay attention to how that butter is melting down. While it's doing that, I'm coming back over. I'm going to grab my Sunny Up eggs. I'm going to turn the fire off on them. If we can notice on the Sunny Up, how the yolk is still just a little bit loose. The egg whites are totally coagulated around. I'm going to put these onto the plate. Actually, now we've got, there we go. Ooh, had to save it. We save it because we almost had over easy eggs. We didn't slide off the way I wanted it to, but we caught it and we saved it. All right. That looking pretty good so far, guys? And we're going to pull these other ones off. Won't get too dark. We'll set it here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our sausage to this. All right. How does that look, guys?
Delicious, chef.
That look good? I want to see yours soon. I'm going back over to get my poached eggs off. I'm going to actually grab a bowl from here and poached eggs. The yolk is still a little bit loose in here. So this one is really crowned the way I wanted it to. You notice I'm just covering it with the coagulation of the egg white. You can see how that egg white has formed and it's coddled. It's hard and fluffy, but the egg yolk is still a little loose inside. And we can open it. We hit that, we're gonna get a little bit of yolk to run out, and then you'll have the hardness of the egg white on the outside. That makes for a good poached egg, okay? I'm gonna set it over here on the board. All right, so now, one thing that just happened that was kind of good was the way that the egg white, the sunny up came out of the pan. It was still folded over, but notice the yolk didn't break. Again, guys, nothing's ever perfect in the kitchen. It's how we recover that makes the outcome is how it transpires. See, if I would have panicked or if I hadn't had the experience, and I want you guys to understand that, we would have broke those egg yolks up trying to get that on the plate, and it would have been a disaster. It would not have been good at all. All right. So now I'm peeling my eggs right now. All right. I'm going to show you on the other one how we talk about peeling. Okay, so I'm gonna put these hard-boiled eggs on the same plate. Now, I'm gonna tap each end of the egg, which you can't see right now. I'm gonna tap each end of the egg, all right? Top and the bottom. I'm gonna roll it in my hand, all right? You'll hear it start to separate. As it does that, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna push the peel back gently and lightly. I'm gonna push that peel back. I'm gonna hold it over the garbage so that we don't end up with peels on the floor.
Question, Chef,
Yes.
is the runny yolk safe with supermarket eggs?
Oh yeah, these are supermarket eggs that we're using. Yes, again, subjective. You know, we eat over easy eggs, over medium eggs, anything like that. Eggs normally, again, it is poultry. I know a lot of people think of it as dairy, and they list it in the dairy aisle, but it is poultry. And here's your hard-boiled eggs, guys. All right, can we see those?
Yes, Chef.
All right, so I'm gonna sit these down on here. And so, yeah, you can eat, I mean, I know this might flip some of you younger people out. Back in the day though, we would drink raw eggs. Anybody that saw Rocky when it first came out? That was the big thing for everybody that used to work out. I used to work out too. Back in the day, we played sports. You drink some eggs in the morning for that we didn't realize what we were drinking it for, but we were drinking it for the protein. And yeah, and it was raw eggs that you would just drink them down with straight protein. Now, you know, things have changed a little bit, and you know, we have to be a little more conscious, a little more careful about what we put into our body and how we put it in, especially with the way food is produced right now. So we just have to be careful about what we do.
Question, Chef,
Yes.
are there other types of acids you can use for the poached egg other than vinegar and orange juice?
Well, vinegar or lemon juice, not orange juice for poached egg. Did you clarify that?
Yes.
Okay, lemon juice. All right. Yes, there are. The most popular being vinegar or lemon juice. In the old world, I'd have to really look into it, but any kind of acid would do. But flavor, you think about flavor profiles and things like that. I don't want to change the flavor of the egg itself. So those are the safest items for me. Any other questions about anything?
Yes, another question following up with the acid. Does it change the taste of the egg, the vinegar or the lemon juice?
The funny part about that is you'll smell the vinegar in the air, you'll smell the lemon juice in the air. But remember, most of that is what's cooking off of the water, what you're smelling. So it shouldn't actually incorporate or change the flavor of your egg unless you use too much of it. That's why I told you guys just a little tiny capful or so. You don't need a lot. Okay? Here for a minute. All right, so with that eggs, 2 styles over here, 3 styles right now. We have a sunny up, we have a poached egg, and we have hard-boiled egg, right? Am I correct, guys?
Yes, Chef.
That's already eggs 3 ways. I'm going to show you 3 more ways to make an egg. All right, so I want you guys to strap in again and pay close attention because this is going to be really, really quick. All right, so I'm breaking my egg again into the bowl, 2 eggs into the bowl. See that? I've got my pan on the fire. 2 things that I want to tell you. One, I learned this from an old chef years ago. And this is before they had nonstick pans. I used to have to season our pans and things like that. He taught me was anytime you were to cook something, if you used a hot pan and cold oil, nothing will ever stick in that pan. I'm going to repeat that again. A hot pan with cold oil, nothing will ever stick in that pan. And it works to this day, okay, guys? All right, back over to the stove here. Here we go. This is where we're gonna start moving rapidly, okay? 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna spray the pan. Pan is hot. All right, I'm gonna add my egg real quick. We hear that sizzle? I'm gonna turn that fire down just a little. So what I'm looking for right now, because this is gonna be, we did the sunny up already, right? So actually, I'm gonna teach you about 8 different ways to make eggs. We can take that sunny up, the original egg that we did, we could have left it on a little bit longer, and it would have been a fried egg. That's when it gets all a little bit hard and brown around the outside. We have a fried egg. Also, we could have taken that sunny up, and we're gonna turn it, because that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna, as soon as we get a little bit of more coagulation, all right, I got a little bit more color than I wanted on here, but that's okay, because it's not gonna affect the actual yolk and most of the whites. But I'm gonna get these whites to coagulate a little bit more. Can you guys see what I'm talking about?
Yes, Chef.
So once we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn this egg. Now I'm gonna turn it, it's over, boom. So I'm gonna turn my egg back over in a minute. So about 2 minutes on this side or so, what we have is a over easy egg, okay? That's your over easy egg. How's that look? Anybody like over easy eggs?
Delicious, Chef.
Anybody not like over easy eggs? Be honest.
No.
Great. So we can take that over easy egg and we're gonna leave it right on this fire for another 3 to 4 minutes, actually about 3 minutes, and we're gonna have an over medium egg. Anybody not like over medium egg?
No.
Good. Everybody likes over hard eggs though, right? Or fried hard, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna take
Yes.
we're gonna take the same egg and leave it on the fire for 7 minutes. And guess what we're gonna have, guys? We're gonna have an over hard egg. Now, what I'm gonna show you here in the South to make an over hard egg, they break the yolk. Up in the North, a lot of times we don't break the yolk, we let the yolk cook through. Because you know in the North, we have patience. See, down here, they want it quick and get it going. So what they'll do is they'll break the yolk. Just a little tap, right? Now we're gonna flip this egg one more time. Notice I'm rolling that pan around to get the egg to where I want it. All right, so it's even with me. So when I flip it, I'm just gonna turn over. That egg yolk is already cracked in there. And it's gonna harden up in about another minute or two. And guess what that is? That is a fried egg or a over hard egg. And if we were in a diner or something, somebody would say, some waitress would come in the kitchen and say, I need 2 over eggs, wreck them. And that means they want 2 eggs over easy, wreck the yolk, break the yolk. All right? That's just an old world diner thing. So we're gonna take these right out the pan right now, because even though it's an over hard egg, we don't want it so hard that you can't eat it. There we go, coming back over to the board. We're done at the stove, coming back to the board. And that is your over hard egg. See that? Yolk's done. I'm gonna turn it over with my hand. My hands are clean. All right, you see that? Yolk's broke. Everybody see that?
Yes, Chef.
All right, I'm gonna come back over here. Stay right where you are. Stay on the board with me, guys. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and now that the poached eggs have set for a minute, because that's what happens. They're gonna set. The yolks are gonna continue to cook. So now these yolks are hard when you're poached egg. So again, cooking your eggs is all about timing. That's what it's all about. All right. So we learned how to make what? Sunny up, over easy, over medium, over hard, fried hard, poached, and boiled. All for the simple price of $3.99, and it's only eggs 3 ways, and we did it about 7 ways. So we thank you so much for coming with us and being with us this morning. We loved you. I need some more questions from you guys. So we're gonna come over here. If we can bring the camera, I just want to get another shot of these plates right here, just so that they can see. And I'm gonna put a little bit of garnish, because we can still, we can still make hard-boiled eggs look good on a plate. They don't have to be, because they're hard boiled, just thrown together and not looking too good. We can make them look good. And so, can we get a shot? Thank you, sir. We're gonna put these little orange sections on here. And on this one, I'm gonna put the whole blackberries. So the reason I'm putting the whole blackberries on here is because we have whole hard-boiled eggs. So we're gonna keep the plate harmonious on how things are done. All right, you can put your butter on here. You can put a little bit of powdered sugar on here, whatever you like. And so we're gonna go ahead and enjoy ourselves a little bit of Riesling mimosas. I hope you guys have yours ready to go. I want to thank you for coming aboard with us and hanging out with us on today and learning a new way of cooking some Nouveau French toast and eggs about 99 weight. We hope you enjoyed it. And I would like you guys just to go to our website, cookingwithcarrington.com, and you can look at our, and just keep checking with us. You'll see some more video blogs and some more blogs coming up. And we want you to join us at our next event, because Cooking with Carrington is always a party in your mouth. So bon appetit, and it's time to eat. Please ask me any questions that you may have right now. And I need to know, I want to see those plates. And as you're eating, I want to know how does your Nouveau French toast taste? Questions?
It was slamming.
Slamming. That's what I like
Awesome.
to hear.
I know you probably can't see my husband's plate, but I finished half my plate already. The flavor all came together on the butter, the texture, the sausage. Awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Oh
That's
my
what
God.
we're looking for. We want to educate and elevate so that you can learn how to do more and more and more like that. All right. I see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bon appetit, everyone. Thank you.
Bon appetit. Anybody else? Anybody else? No questions? Everybody eating? If it's good, say yay. If it's not, say nay.
Yay!
Yay, yay. So is it yay because of the yay, yay?
It's great.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Does anybody wish they had more seasoning in their sausage?
No.
Good,
Just
good.
enough.
Was it, did we know, was this an easy way to peel a boiled egg? Sounds like
Brilliant.
everybody's eating. I hear a lot of plates clinging and a lot of forks tinging. That's a good thing.
Awesome.
Can't wait till the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, get ready for the next one. If you go to our website, you can see the next one. I think our next one that we're doing is going to be charcuterie plates and wine flights, so that you can entertain your guests and friends with something a little bit different. We're going to end up making some homemade different style crackers to go along with the different cheeses, and I'll explain to you about cheeses. I used to sell cheese in Manhattan on the Upper West Side for about 9 years, different cheeses from all over the world. So we're going to talk about cheeses and what makes them a single creme, a double creme, a triple creme, which makes them richer or more solid or loose. And we're going to talk about the fruits that match and pair with it. And we're going to make some crackers to go along with it. And we're going to have a little bit of wine to take it and make it all fine. Anybody else want to come on? Can I get another question? Can we get another? Yeah.
Empty.
All right, guys. About to say goodbye. Bon appetit. Don't
Goodbye,
forget.
you all. Thank you.
Thank you, cookingwithcarrington.com. I'm Chef Carrington, and you're cooking with, and love to see you again next time. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Bye.